Hello and welcome. We're moving right along, and today we're going to be talking about Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Bedknobs and Broomsticks was released in 1971, and it has a cast that we are all familiar with. It stars Angela Lansbury, who was also Mrs. Potts, and other roles she's done was Murder, She Wrote and Sweeney Todd, and she played Mrs. Lovett and Sweeney Todd on Broadway originally, and different roles such as that outside the Disney sphere.
Ah, customer! What you rush, what you hurry? You gave me such a fright, I thought you was a ghost. Half a minute, can't you sit you down, sit. All I meant is that I haven't seen a customer for weeks. Did you come in for a pie, sir? Do forgive me if me head's a little vague. What is that? But you think we have the plague? From the way the people keep avoiding, now you don't.
As well as Mr. Banks is in this film, and David Tomlinen, I believe. David Tomlinson, I think is his name. I'm probably butchering that too. He plays Mr. Brown in this film, and I really could not separate him from Mr. Banks. He looks basically almost the same as his character did as Mr. Banks, and he basically is Mr. Banks after Mary Poppins has left, and now he's a fun, caring, free guy. This is like the sequel. This is a continuation of it.
You can have your own set of wings. With your feet on the ground, you're a bird in flight. With your fist holding tight to the string of your kite.
For whatever reason, I thought that I hated this film, but now I think I am confusing it with other films I saw when I was younger. And I think I might have confused it with Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and something else. Because you know, there was a bunch of weird films in the 70s that were still on TV at the time, and for whatever reason I thought I was disturbed by this picture. But now that I sat down and watched it, it's actually really cute, and this is not the film that I thought it was at all, which is a good thing for once, because I kind of went in blindly and I didn't know what was happening. The plot is very simple. It's about this witch who was Angela Lansbury's character. She ends up having to take in a family of orphans, 3 kids, and she doesn't think she's gonna get along with them, but they end up going on an adventure together, and by the end of the film, when they come to take back the kids and say, oh, there's another family that can take them, she decides that yes, she can have a family, and that's the basic plot of it. The scenes in between, however, a lot of times I felt like I was questioning where the plot was going. It just seemed very chaotic, and I didn't know what direction it was taking. The sub-story of this film, the adventure that they go on to, is they are looking for this star that is supposed to help her master a spell. They go through all these different situations in order to find it, and once they do find it, the spell that it creates is a bunch of dancing clothes, and honestly, it's very terrifying.
She had a history with Dracona, McCoy's, and a little help from me.
I don't know why everyone's so overjoyed. I feel like if you just had the door open and a bunch of clothes were just dancing around you, would be a nightmare. There's also the one other scene too where they're in the streets and it's just a bunch of people dancing from all different cultures. It's an interesting thing to watch, but I had no idea where they were going with this, besides the fact that this is just a side plot and just them having a fun time. So it kind of was things like that that kind of were all over the place, and I wasn't sure how they were going from plot A to plot B. But they got there, and it's a decent film. It's a really cute story. This is another one that's also half live action, half animation, and they do a flawless, fantastic job. I give them so much credit for it. It works excellently. At this point, by the 70s, they've had a lot of practice with it, so it makes sense, but I loved how much more they were doing with it, where they were reaching into things and putting stuff on them and playing around with the animation. It was really cool to see, so that was the best part of these film. And I also really appreciate that they show witches in a really great light. I feel like nowadays, and even throughout history, witches are shown to be really bad and evil, and I really appreciate any material that shows them being great and being good, because it gives a nice balance. And plus, witches are fantastically awesome, and I feel like I always want it to be more of a normal thing. So that's another reason I think this is great. And it's treated really normally too, and I really admire that. They're just like, oh, she's a witch, oh cool, let's see her do stuff. That's how it could be. So bravo to movie, bravo. Tomorrow we're gonna take a wee little break from our adventure films because St. Patrick's Day is coming up. And we have 2 fantastic St. Patrick related films to discover. So tomorrow we are going to be talking about the luck of the Irish. So stay tuned. And as always, I hope you have a magical day, and I will see you real soon.